Hey guys, this is Patty B within the Holler. I got another firearm I'd like to share with y'all. This is the Springfield Armory Echelon, chambered in 9mm. Go ahead and make sure she's clear. Yeah, the Echelon's a polymer frame striker fired pistol made in Croatia by VHS Products and imported by Springfield Armory. You know, Springfield Armory's been, importing, the XD line from Croatia for, many years and been a highly successful platform. Was never really one of my favorites. They always seemed like they were fine guns, but, the grip safety and the high bore axis, they just weren't ever my favorites. Never owned one. I've shot a few and they all shot well and they always seemed like they were really good guns, but I just never got into them. Well, when this came out earlier this year, I looked at all the features and, I decided it was just going to be a matter of time before I got one. Well, now I do. So I just picked this up from my dealer. Haven't even fired it yet. So we're, we'll get our first impressions on this and then we'll take it outside and do some shooting. The specs on this, 4.5-inch barrel, and it weighed 27.5 ounces with an empty 20-round magazine on my scale. So pretty much Glock 17 sized. Features on this, you got the nice polymer lower here, and the first thing I noticed when I picked it up is how thin this grip is through here. It just feels so much smaller than something like a Glock. You can just get more of your hand around it, depending on your hand size. That could be a good thing, could be a bad thing, but feels pretty good in your hand. Another thing you notice is it has traction everywhere, all the way around, up high, even out front on the takedown lever, and you have a little gas pedal out here as well as one on this side. Somebody finally put traction everywhere where it's supposed to be, and that's definitely a good thing. You've got your undercut here and a little double undercut here, which also has traction, and they put traction out here on the front of the trigger guard if you're a Jerry Mitchell type shooter that likes to stick the finger out there. You've got a multi-slot rail, so you can put whatever attachments you want on there. Controls on this, pretty nice, completely ambi. So you don't have to swap it from one side to the other. It works on both sides. As well as the slide stop, slide release, the same deal. One on each side, however you want to run it. Slide on this, pretty neat. It's got a nice low bore axis like a Glock. And they have all these cuts on there to give you excellent traction. It's got two little ledges, like one here and one here. So whatever your preferred method of racking a pistol is, this has the traction for it. You can do it here, here, over the top. However you want to do it, this thing has great traction. Sights, pretty excellent. Just U-notch rear with a tritium front surrounded by a green dot. These sights are really good, especially up close. I've shot these on my Hellcat Pro. It has the same style sights and they're really good up close, but I'd struggle at range, but that's okay. This is a duty gun, not a target gun. And these are duty sights, not target sights, but really good up close. Trigger on this, pretty darn good. I measured it about 4 or 5 times and it always came up between just under 5 pounds, 4 3/4 pounds, I think was the average on it. There's your reset. Yeah, pretty darn good trigger for a duty gun. It's also a modular design, so you can take the trigger pack out of this and you can put whatever kind of different lowers or different frames or whatever you want. Springfield Armory sells 2 different size complete frames, even though it comes with 2 additional back straps, the one included. If you want a complete new frame, you can buy that from Springfield Armory. You just remove the serialized trigger portion and you can drop that in there. I don't know that a lot of people do that, but it's always cool to have the option to do it if you want to. Another innovation for the Echelon is the optics mounting on it. I always seem like the lower you can mount your optic, the better off you are. Well, what's cool about the Springfield Armory one is it doesn't use plates. You can put 31 different optics on this without having to order or use any plates. It has a system where you just use these interlocking pins that are just going to put up to any optic and mount it on there, which seems like a pretty good idea. I'm going to do a lot of my shooting with just the irons to see how I think about the gun without it. And then I've got like a Holosun I'll throw on there and do some optic shooting and see what I think about the way it mounts and how it shoots with an optic on there. It's just a pretty neat system because, a lot of guns don't even come with plates. You have to order them. And even if it comes with them, you still have another plate, and that's still just going to push your optic higher and something else to go wrong. having no plates seems like a really good option to me. Disassembly on this, pretty darn simple. Lock your slide to the rear, rotate your takedown lever, drop the slide, and she comes right off. As you can see, brand new, hasn't had a round through it except for maybe what was fired at the factory. Give you a look on the inside. Got your barrel, captive recoil spring. Put them back together, just the opposite. Go ahead and slide it on. Lock it to the rear, flip your lever, and done. So pretty cool. You know, my first impressions before shooting it, picking it up. I really love how the grip feels. It's smaller. I feel like I can get more of my hand around it. Don't really have anything negative to say. It's got a good trigger. It's got a good size. Feels good in your hand. Even though it does have traction everywhere, I guess the most minor of gripes is I wish it was a little more aggressive, but it feels pretty good. You know, and I think that's just a me thing. I just wish it had a little more traction to it. But this thing feels great in my hand, and can't wait to take this bad boy out and rig a bunch of steel. Not sure how many rounds I'll put through it for this review. Maybe 250, maybe 500. We'll just see how it goes, but really looking forward to taking this thing out and running some rounds through it. So, well, hey, let's go ring a bunch of steel, see how this thing does. All right, we got a beautiful day to put our first rounds through the Echelon. We don't get a whole lot of snow in Middle Tennessee. We got about 6 inches. So, you know, since we don't get it a lot, we got to take advantage and play in it. So, beautiful day to shoot this thing. Well, let's put our first rounds through, see where it's hitting for us. All right, first rounds went okay. Looks like it's shooting a little bit to the right, which is weird. I usually pull them a little left, being a right-handed shooter, but first impressions, pretty sweet, pretty flat shooting. Love these sights for up close. All right, step back a little bit, about 15 yards, see what we can do with the Echelon. All right, I got close to 100 rounds through it now, and I really like it quite a bit. To me, it feels a lot like a Glock. The low bore axis, just shooting it, feels like a Glock. However, with a better trigger, better sights, and probably a better grip. But yeah, feels like a better Glock. All right, let's try that 25-yard plate. All right, let's try that 40-yard plate. All right, missed a couple in there. You know, to me, these sights aren't the best for longer range, but this thing shoots really good, shoots flat, off to a good start, and yeah, thumbs up. I like it. All right, we put on the Holosun 507C, kind of just matched up to the dot to the sights. Let's see how where it's hitting for us. All right, pretty close. Might need to tweak it a little, but hey, so far so good. Putting the optic on wasn't hard, pretty easy. The stock pins that came with it were fit the Holosun, so it's good. All right, back inside from shooting the Springfield Echelon. Make sure she's clear. I put 400 rounds through it using just the iron sights, and then I threw the Holosun on and put another 100 rounds through it. I pretty much just wanted to see how their new optic mounting system worked, and pretty straightforward, pretty easy, and seems like it's doing a good job. So 500 rounds through it, 0 issues whatsoever, which is always good to see. And yeah, just a lot of fun to shoot. Shooting it wise, it really kind of feels like a Glock to me. You know, I guess which is a good thing. Just the recoil impulse just kind of feels like a Glock. But you know, what do you get for your money with this? You know, because this is these things run. I think I paid $525 for this. Usually you can see them for $550. I feel like you get a whole lot for it. You don't have to change anything on it. The grip is really good. I do wish it was slightly more aggressive, but it's still pretty darn good. The grip is nice and slender through here. You get a lot more of your fingers around the gun. It's got a good trigger. It's got excellent sights. There's just nothing you need to do to this to upgrade it. And I'm looking forward to putting a whole lot more rounds through it. I can see me shooting this quite a bit just because, you know, it's a whole lot of fun. So 500 rounds is just a start. You know, that's not a long-term torture test, but I'm really impressed with how this did, how it shoots. The whole shooting experience with it was pretty good. So we're going to run a whole bunch more through it and see what we think about it. But initial thoughts, this thing's pretty sweet. Well, there you go, guys. Springfield Armory Echelon. Y'all have a nice day.